Hey guys, Anime Ball X is here. As you can see the thumbnail. What if Issei was the Crimson Dragon Emperor Part 2? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe to my channel and also watch previous episodes. Let's start the video. Really? All three of them asked in synchronized way. Yay, what, you don't trust me? Rainier half opened her eyes. I don't mean to butt in, but, can you please let me down now? Issei tapped on Donasik's shoulder as the latter realized that the former was held high on air.
Sorry about that, brat. Donasik quickly let him down, patting away the dust on Issei's shoulder. Issei, allow me to introduce him to you, this is Kalawena. The tall and buxom woman waved at him. This is Middlet. The girl in Gothic Lodita winked at him, which caused him to have a chill down his spine. And finally, this is Donasik. The man who just lifted Issei up gave Issei a nod. It's nice meet you all. Issei bowed as he greeted them to show them that he respect them. I'm hyoudou Issei. Then, since you're home, I guess I'll take my leave. Issei gave them a wave and started to walk away, if he can that is. Wait. You said it yourself that you'll explain everything to me. Rainier spoke out loud while grabbing Issei's jacket to stop him from leaving. Crap, and here I thought she might forget about it. Issei's sweat dropped on his head. Oh right, I forgot about that. Hee. Issei scratched the back of his head and forced a smile. Don't you even think about leaving this church without explaining everything. Rainier warned him. Oops, she saw through that. Issei's sweat dropped again. What's happening, Rainier? Kalawena asked her friend. He knew I was a fallen angel from the first day we met. Rainier answered Kalawena's question with her eyes half closed. All right, Yuma. Calm down, I'll explain it to you. Issei placated Rainier. Before that, you mind if I call one more person here as well? 'Cause it'll be a lot more easier, if she's here. Issei requested a request. Rainier looked at the other three fallen angels wondering what to do at this situation. Kalawena then spoke. It's up to you, Rainier, you're the one in charge here. Rainier then turned towards Issei and gave him a nod. Great. Give me a second. Issei smiled and closed his eyes like he's trying to concentrate. He then shot open his eyes, took a step back and said, she'll be here within a second. The bright green seal started to form on the ground in front of him and began to shine brightly, causing the fallen angels to cover their eyes. They then widened their eyes when they saw another person, Asia, standing in front of them. Wow. This church is beautiful. This is a heaven for me. Asia's eyes were full with glitters as she looked around the church, forgetting the main purpose she was called here. Issei-san, I'm going to pray to Lord for a while. She said it happily. Does she even know that we're fallen angels? Donasik asked Issei and the latter nodded. So why isn't she afraid of who we are? Kalawena asked again. I told her you guys are nice fallen angels. Issei grinned. What's with her? Middlet decided to ask Issei. Issei showed a sad yet angry expressions when he heard that question. But he answered it while not letting Asia to listen. Oh, she used to be a nun, that is until she was excommunicated. I believe you all know her very well, she has another name called the Holy Priestess. Exclamation mark, question mark, SS she's THMHHHHHHHHMMM. Middlet was about to shout out loud until a hand covered her mouth. Shush, don't let her hear that. Issei whispered loudly and looked to see if Asia heard that or not. Issei felt relief when he saw that Asia was still praying in front of altar. I heard that she got banished because she has the ability to heal devils. Is that true? Kalawena asked. Know what the Longinus are? If you meant the 13 top-tier sacred gears that has enough power to kill gods, then yes. Donasik answered. Then, you know what this is. Issei put forward his left arm and started to glow red in color. Dragon Booster. A red, claw-shaped gauntlet with yellow accents, an orange jewel at the top of the palm area and orange inscriptions that covers up his left hand and the majority of his arm. Exclamation mark, question mark, TT that's T the mid-tier Longinus. Boosted gear. It's also known as the Red Dragon Emperor's Gauntlet. Rainier was shocked even more after seeing it. Yep. Nova, the Red Dragon Emperor is sealed within me. Issei spoke calmly. Why you possess the power to kill gods and even mouse. Middlet spoke with a fear in a voice. Though, mine is different. What do you mean? Kalawena questioned Issei. While the vanishing dragon was sealed into divine dividing, Nova was sealed into me. That way, I can tap into Nova's power directly at any time I want. But wasn't the Red Dragon Emperor originally sealed in the boosted gear? Rainier asked. That's true. But after I did a lot of research about seals I found a way to convert the seal. That's where Asia came in. Issei said that while he put his hand on her head, which made her blush. Asia possesses a great talent in magic. So, I've asked her to extract Nova's soul out of the boosted gear and place it into me. Why? Nova's power was basically restricted when he was placed in the boosted gear. If I wish to master his power more quickly, I will have to his host. Directly, not through boosted gear. Issei said that with a serious tone as he disabled the boosted gear. Just an additional for you guys, I can only summon boosted gear when at least 4 seals were unsealed. Issei said it as he lifted up his sleeves and showed them a spiked chain tattoo. Just how strong are you, Issei? Rainier asked as a sweat dripped down from her forehead. But Issei just smiled. Anything else? Yawn, asterisk, it's getting late. We have school tomorrow. Issei yawned and he saw Asia, who was sitting beside him, is doing her best to stay awake. Cute, Issei thought. One last question, kid. Donasek spoke seriously, but his perverted face betrayed him. Issei failed to see that as he's too tired to notice anything. What is it? Are you a virgin? Donasek asked seriously. Everyone in the dining room started to blush except for Donasek. What do you mean by that? Why would you want to know? Issei blushed heavily after hearing Donasek's question. Oh come on kid, you can tell me. Just me. Man to man. Donasek showed his perverted face again. Issei doesn't know what to say at that moment. Dohnaseek. Donasek flinched when he heard both Rainier and Kalawana were giving him death glare. Middled, please escort our guests back to their home. We have something important to deal with right now. Rainier narrowed her eyes as she saw Donasek started to back away, trying to escape. Okay, Middle complied cheerfully and started to push both Issei and Asia out of the dining room. Please forgive me. Donasek pled as he saw 2 female fallen angels started to walk towards him. Outside the abandoned church. You can just stop here, Middle-san. We can take care of ourselves from here. Asia bowed to thank Middle for escorting out of the church. It's nothing, Middle smiled warmly. Then, we'll be on our way. See you next time. Issei said as he gave her a wave. Come visit us again. The church will always welcome you guys. Middle said it out happily. Arghhhhhhhhhhhhh. I'm sorryyyyyyyyyy. Donasek's scream was then heard even though they're currently outside. They started without me. Middle rushes back quickly. Go easy on him. Issei shouted. No promise. Middle replied back happily. Issei's sweat dropped on his head as he heard Middle's reply. Boy, he sure is in a big trouble right now. I can only hope that Lord can save Donasek-san. Asia said it innocently while praying. It's really late, Asia, let's just teleport back home. Hi. Asia smiled in reply. Asia walked towards Issei and grabbed on his leather jacket as he put both his index and middle fingers on his forehead. Whoosh asterisk within second, with just a sound of a wind, they disappeared without leaving a single trace. The red dragon-like gauntlet formed on Issei's left hand for a moment before he disabled it again. That statement shocked everyone further because the current Red Dragon Emperor, one of the heavenly dragons, is sitting in front of them. Then if you're really the Red Dragon Emperor, what is Asia-san's job? Rias asked again. Issei showed them the spiked chain tattoo on his right hand as he rolled up his sleeve. This is actually a seal used to suppress both my power and Nova's. I've asked Asia to place it on me. You can say she's sort of like my limiter. Why chose to suppress it? Is it because you can't control it? Rias asked again. Issei shook his head. I tried to avoid any attentions, but so far it's not going so well. As you can see, Yuma has already noticed my presence. Issei rubbed the back of his head and gave a forced smile to Rias. Rias closed her eyes for a moment, took in a deep breath. She then decided to ask Issei a question that would change his life forever. Issei, would you like to join my peerage? Rias asked him nervously. She feared that Issei would reject her. Issei stayed quiet for a moment and folded his arms to think. Sure. He replied it, but with a serious expression this time. Exclamation mark, question mark, quote. Everyone was surprised by Issei's reply. Really? Rias shot forward, holding Issei's hand and looked at him happily. Her eyes were glittering. Yay. Issei gave her a small smile and nodded. Yay. Rias jumped up and down while hugging Issei. Akino coughed to remind Rias her current state. Rias quickly let go of Issei. Sorry, Rias was blushing as she apologized. Issei just chuckled and shook his head, showing that he doesn't mind. But if you reincarnated as a devil, it would mean that you will live as my servant. Rias reminded Issei. Yay. I know. Issei nodded. Issei-san. Can I have to become a devil too? Asia's question causes Issei to look at her straight away. No you can't, Asia. He told her while he put both his hands on her shoulders. If you become a devil, you can no longer pray to God. Issei told her seriously. But you're turning into a devil. I promised I will follow Issei-san forever. Asia started to have teary eyes. Issei flinched seeing Asia was about to cry. He gently put his hand on her head and rubbed her head gently. I understand. But if you turn into a devil with me, you can no longer pray to God. I can't take something that is so important to you just because of my selfish choice. I'll be very upset if that happened. You know that I do things with reason. So if I choose to be a devil, I have my own reason. Besides, I want to stop hiding. I want my freedom back. If anyone comes to threaten you or my peaceful life, I'll blow them away. Even if I turn into a devil, I'm still me, right? So please, stop crying. Issei smiled as he told his feelings to Asia. Asia rubbed of her tears and nodded her head. Issei turned towards Rias with a serious expression. What are the options for me to become a devil? Rias took out her chess pieces from her pocket, and in her hand were crimson chess pieces, 1 rook, 1 bishop, 1 knight and 8 pawns. These are evil pieces. These can help you to be reincarnated as a devil. Choose your piece, Issei. Issei looked at Rias's hand for a moment. Pawn please. All of them. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote. Rias rose an eyebrow but complied, putting the rest of her chess pieces back into her pocket and left the 8 pawns on her hand. Please stand forward, Issei. Rias spoke seriously. Issei followed her order and stood forward. The crimson demonic power started to surround Rias's body. She then started to chant, I order, in my name Rias gremory. You, hyoudou Issei. I resurrect you back to this soil as my servant, and have you reborn as a devil. You, my pawn, be delighted with your new life. The crimson chess pieces glows and flew into Issei's body. Rias stops her demonic power after confirming that all 8 pieces has entered into Issei's body. She then made a sigh. Ara, Issei-kun must be very strong. Taking all 8 at once. You fu. Ikano praised Issei, while placing her palm on her cheek and laughed. On their pants. Issei-san. Calm down partner, calm down. Hearing both Asia's and Nova's voice, Issei's anger dispersed right away. Taking in a deep breath and releasing it. Sorry about that. Issei apologized to everyone for scaring them. The whole class was silent until the teacher arrived. Break time. Issei was looking the window while waiting for whoever it was that Buku will send. He's saving his lunch meal for later. Kyaa. It's Kiba-kun. Why is he here? It's the Koos Prince. The girls screamed as they saw Kiba walked into their classroom. Kiba smiled at them charmingly and walked towards Issei when he saw him. Yo Kiba. So Buku sent you, huh? Issei grinned and gave Kiba a wave. Yes, Buku had asked me to come get you. Kiba replied. The girls however started to fantasize something else. Hyoudou-kun x Kiba-kun pair. No. I can't imagine them being together. Maybe it's Kiba-kun x Hyoudou-kun. Both Issei and Kiba sweat dropped on his head when he heard that. Asia, I'm going. You wanna come? Issei asked as he turned his head to Asia's direction. Hi. Asia stood up and brought her school bag with her. As they leave the classroom. What's is wrong with the people in this school? Just how wild is their imaginations? Issei spoke very softly so only he, Asia and Kiba can hear it. Ha. Kiba laughed understanding what Issei meant, while Asia tilted her head not understanding. I don't understood what Issei-san meant, Asia spoke innocently. She's so innocent. Both Issei and Kiba thought the same thing as they stare at Asia for a while. Issei put his hand on her head and said, I'll explain to you next time. Promise? Asia asked with a hope in her face. I promise. Issei grinned. At the Occult Research Club. You're here. Rias greeted when she saw Kiba entered the clubroom with both Issei and Asia. Both Akano and Koneko were already in the room. The former one was sitting on a couch while the later was sitting on the opposite side with a pile of food in front of her. I'm sorry to call you during the break time. But I still have some questions I need to ask. Rias spoke. It's okay, Issei started to speak but something interrupted his talk. Growlll. Asterisk. Silence took over, for a couple of minutes. Issei blushed heavily and said, while we're having the conversations, why you don't mind if I eat it here, right? Rias was covering her mouth, trying to suppress her laughter. Ara. You fu. Akano laughed. Hey, Koneko laughed a bit. Both Asia and Kiba were turning to the other side trying to hide their faces. PFF. Ha. Nova was laughing heavily in Issei's head. Yes. You can eat while we're talking, Issei. Rias finally spoke while wiping the tears on her eyes. Thank you Buku, Issei thanked Rias, still blushing heavily from what just happened. Issei sat next to Koneko and took out his lunchbox from his school bag. Koneko's eyes glued at Issei at that moment, or, his lunchbox to be more precise. Everyone's eyes widened except Asia's as they saw Issei's extra large lunchbox. It's big. Wait, how did that fit into his school bag? Rias thought. Issei looked at Rias and spoke, what do you want to talk about? Since you already told me that Asia uses magic. So I've been wondering whether you two know how to use magic. Rias asked as she saw Issei was gulping his lunchbox vigorously. She quit his index finger and smiled sheepishly. But as for the hellfire, I ate it. The Greek god, Hades isn't a nice god at all. He challenged me right at the moment when I asked him to teach me hellfire. Issei frowned as he recalled what had happened. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote. All 4 devils were shocked again. Issei never ceased to amaze them. You at his flame. How? Rias asked shockingly. Well, back then, I used all my stamina to claw my way out of the hellfire, but I failed. It was then I started to eat his flame, I was hungry. Issei shrugged as he explained the whole thing. For someone to survive entering hell, you really are amazing, Issei. Rias muttered. He was about to continue eating his lunchbox, but there's nothing left in it. Gakong. Issei's jaw dropped to the floor. My lunch. Issei held his lunchbox while shaking. He then turned to look at the culprit. Koneko was using her handkerchief to clean her mouth. She then put her thumbs up and said, it was delicious. Issei currently lost his words. Suddenly, Akino spoke to Rias in a serious tone. Buku, we've received a message from the Archduke. Archduke? Rias questioned. Akino showed a serious expression. Apparently, a strayed devil is on the loose in this town. Rias frowned upon hearing that. Buku, when you said strayed devil, did you mean that they left their masters? Issei asked Rias. Rias nodded her head. Not just leaving their masters. It also includes those who turned into a servant devil of a devil, but they betrayed or killed its master. They chose to use that power for their own self-interest and cause destruction at different locations. They also attack and kill humans. When one is found, the master or other devils are ordered to eliminate the stray devils. That's the law of the devils. Issei stood up from his seat, cracked his knuckles and said. Then let's go hunt some strayed devil. Outside an unused building. They were teleported from the clubroom. Issei had asked Asia to head back home without him as it was too dangerous for her. He knows that she can use defensive magic, but still, he worries that something might happen to her. So being a devil helps you improve your eyesight during nighttime, Issei thought to himself as he can see in the dark much clearer than before. His nose twitched for a while as he smelled something. Smell of blood. Quote, quote, exclamation mark, question mark, quote, quote. Both Issei and Koneko said it at the same time. They looked at each other. Koneko was covering her nose with her uniform. Jinx. Issei said it to Koneko. Koneko narrowed her eyes and walked away. Man, she's serious, Issei thought. Partner, do you need me at here? Nova asked Issei in his head. Nah, just a strayed devil. It'll be overkill if I use you. Then I'm off to bed. See you tomorrow, Nova spoke to him telepathically before he cut off the link. Issei chuckled as he saw one of the heavenly dragon beings so lay back. As they entered into the unused building, Rias spoke to Issei. Issei, it's a good opportunity for you to see what a devil's battle is like. Just for today, concentrate and watch how we fight, okay? I'll also explain the traits the servants have. Issei stood beside Rias and nodded. As you wish, Buku. Something then approached them. I smelled something disgusting. But also sweet. Is it sweet? Is it sour? A low voice which was coming from below the ground. Rias then said, Stray Devil Vaser. We are here to eliminate you. The inhuman abnormal laughter echoes around the devils. Suddenly, a topless woman appeared from the shadow, but her body was floating. Whoa! Issei quickly covered his eyes thinking that it's rude to stare at a naked lady. But, step. A heavy footstep was heard followed by a gigantic beast body. The strayed devil looked horrible. While the upper body was woman, the lower body was a monster. That monster's size was at least more than 6 meters tall. So this is what it's like to be a strayed devil. Issei narrowed his eyes as he looked at the monster standing in front of them. Leaving your master and rampaged around as you please definitely lead you to be eliminated. In the name of Duke Gremory, I will gladly eliminate you. Rias spoke loud and clear to the strayed devil. Cunning little Gil. I shall rip your body apart and color it in red like your hair. The monster shrieked. Rias just smiled and started to command her servants. Yuto. Yes. In that instant Kiba vanished from his position. He sprinted towards the monster. But Issei can see him clearly. He's fast, but not fast enough. Issei thought. Rias started to speak. Yuto is a knight. Its trait is speed. Those that become a knight have their speed increased. Yuto's ultimate weapon is swords. Kiba was moving here and there dodging the monster's attack. He then stopped suddenly, holding onto a European sword. Taking it out from the scabbard. He then vanished again, and the next thing you know. Gyaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaa The monster was screaming from the pain. Both its arms were cut off from its torso. Blood were gushing out from the wound. Koneko then started to walk towards the wounded monster. Next is Koneko. She is a rook. The trait of a rook is that. Damn you. The lower section of the monster started to open, forming a big mouth with big sharp teeth. Chomp. The monster ate Koneko. But Rias remained calm, so did Issei. The trait of a rook is that it provides absolute strength and high defense. It's impossible to hurt Koneko at that caliber of bite. The lower mouth of the monster started to open. It was forced opened. Inside that mouth was Koneko with her uniforms a bit ripped off. Fly. Koneko spoke as she turned around and delivered a punch towards the strayed devil's lower section. Bang. The monster flew backwards with the lower section of its mouth and teeth destroyed. Whistle, Issei whistled as he saw the monster was sent flying. Lastly, Akino. Hi Buku. Ara ara. What should I do? You fufufu. Akino was smiling as she walked towards the monster that was lying on the ground. Suddenly, one of the strayed devil's hand close to Rias and Issei started to move. It was slowly crawling towards Rias without her noticing. As the hand pounced, Issei noticed it right away. Buku. Quote 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 exclamation mark question mark quote quote quote. Everyone turned around when they heard Issei shouting at their king. Issei stood forward guarding Rias. He brought out his left hand just in time to grab the wrist of severed hand. The severed arm was close in grabbing Rias if it was not prevented by Issei. Issei narrowed his eyes as he looked at the severed hand. Burn. Orange-yellow flame burst out from Issei's hand and started to burn the severed hand until only ashes remain. The room temperature spiked up for a while when Issei released his flame of fire dragon. Thank you, Issei. Rias thanked him while giving a disappointed expression. She was mad at herself. How could she let her guard down? Ara ara. It's not nice of you to target our King Devil-chan. You need to be punished. Akino started to show A's face. Pale yellow magic circle started as she pointed her hands towards the sky. Flash. Asterisk. The next instant, the sky sparkled and lightning bolts strike down the monster. Gagagagaga. The monster was being electrified, violently. So she uses lightning-based attack like me ha. Issei thought. Akino is a queen. She is the one who is the strongest after me. She is the unbeatable vice president of our club who has all the traits of pawn, rook, bishop and knight. Ara ara. You're still very energetic. Akino licked her lips while still showing S face. Flash. Asterisk. Another lightning bolt came down and hit the monster. Gyaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaa Issei even felt a bit sorry for the strayed devil, just a bit. Rias continued, Akino excels at attack using demonic powers. She could use natural elements of lightning, ice and fire. And most of all, she's the ultimate sadist. Issei sweat dropped on his head when he heard that statement from Rias. Well, usually she's very kind, but once the battle starts, she won't stop until she's calmed down. That statement causes Issei to shiver again. Scary. Akino, that's enough. Rias ordered Akino and walked towards the monster. Ara ara. Is it over already? I'm still not satisfied yet. Akino smiled and placed her hand on her cheek. Rias then put her hand towards the monster and asked, any last words? The strayed devil just spoke weakly, just kill me. Very well. Checkmate. With that reply, a gigantic crimson-black mass of demonic power is shot out from Rias's palm. It's so big that it entirely covered the monster's body, leaving it without any trace. Is that the power of destruction? Issei widened his eyes as he saw that magic. Rias sighed after confirming that the monster is dead. Good work everyone. And so, for Issei's life as a devil begins. A slim figure. She has a short bob-cut black hair and violet eyes. She's dressed in Kuo Academy uniform. It's nice to see you too, Rias. The girl called Sona greeted back. Issei looked at Rias and asked. Buku, this is. Before Rias could answer, the male student with short blonde hair and grey eyes decided to cut in. He's wearing his school uniform without the blazer and his sleeves were rolled up. Rias-senpai, you didn't mention anything about us to him before. It's alright Saji. It's not like we could meet at public places as we like. Sona talked while giving a small smile. Issei, this is Sona Citri. She is another high-class devil like me. She is also the next heiress of Citri clan. She is the president of student council in this school. She is in third year class. Rias introduced Sona to Is. So Shitori Suna is just an alias ha. Issei muttered out loudly while placing his hand under his chin, thinking. That is correct. Sona answered as she heard that. Oh, sorry, where are my manners? I'm hyoudou Issei, second year student. Pawn of Rias-sama. Please look after me in this school. Issei introduced himself while bowing towards Sona. Anno. My name is Asia Argento. I'm same year as Issei-san. I'm not on Buku-san's peerage. But I'm following Issei-san. Please look after me as well. Asia introduced herself to Sona and bowed nervously. Sona bowed slightly at him as well. Now, Rias, the reason I came here is to introduce our new servant to each other. Looks like you got yourself a well-mannered servant. Issei scratched the back of his head and smiled sheepishly, feeling nervous from being complimented. Rias felt proud as her servant had just been complimented. Saji, introduce yourself too. Sona ordered Saji as she looked at him. Hi Kaiku. I'm Saji Genshiru, second year student. Secretary of Student Council. Pawn of Sona Citet. Saji bowed as he introduced himself. After Saji's introduction, the rest of Sona's peerage started to introduce themselves as well. Firstly, it was a young bespectacled woman with long straight black that extended all the way to her knees with split bangs. Her glasses were blue in color and was semi-rimmed glasses with square lenses. I'm Shinra Tsubaki, third-year student. Vice President of the Student Council. Sona Kaiku's queen. Then, a slim girl with long brown hair that ends with two short braids and matching eyes. She wears a blue headband. My name is Kusaka Raya, second-year student. Nice to meet you. She spoke softly and her voice was very gentle. Next was a young woman with white hair and blue-green eyes. I'm Hanakai Momo, second-year student. I'm Kaiku's bishop. I hope we can get along. The girl with shoulder-length, reddish-brown hair and brown eyes. Her hair features a swept bangs and a single strand of hair sticking out from the top. Hi, I'm Kaiku's knight. My name is Meguri Tomo, second-year student. I hope we can all get along, she spoke cheerfully. The tall girl with blue shoulder-length hair and matching blue eyes. Hello, I'm Yura Tsubasa, Kaiku's rook. I look forward working with you guys. Lastly, a short petite girl with twin brown ponytails and green eyes introduced herself. My name is Nimura Ruriko. I'm Kaiku's pawn too, first-year student. Let's get along. Issei took a step forward and put out his right hand so that he can shake hands with Saji. So you're a pawn too, huh? Well, as another fellow male pawn, it's nice to meet you. I look forward being your new friend. Issei grinned as he said it. But, Saji looked away from Issei and folded his hand. I don't want to get along with the famous Kuo Academy's playboy. You only tarnish the title of a pawn. Snap. Asterisk. Something inside Issei just snapped and his brown-haired shadow over his eyes. He lowered his hand and took a step backward. Saji. Sona shouted at Saji, causing the latter to flinch. How dare you say that? Hyoudou-kun is just being nice to you. How dare you embarrass me like that? Sona started to scold Saji. I'm very sorry, Hyoudou-kun. My pawn is not well disciplined. Sona bowed as she apologized to Issei. It's okay, Citri-sama. PP, please get up. Issei gave a forced smile while asking Sona to lift her head up. Saji, apologize to Hyoudou-kun this instant. Sona ordered. Saji was reluctant for a while but complied. Please forgive me for my rudeness. He then bowed his head. Issei was quiet as he doesn't know how to react. Saji-san, please get along with me as well. Asia decided to speak, trying to reduce the awkwardness in the room. Saji just shot straight forward, holding both Asia's hands, shaking them up and down vigorously. If it's Asia-san, then let's get along very well. Saji spoke happily, showing a slight perverted expression on his face. Both Sona and Issei sweat dropped on their head as they witnessed Saji's expression. Issei's instinct took over and he stepped forward, pulling Asia away from Saji, wrapping his right hand around her waist while pointing Saji with his left hand. Get away from her, you pervert! Issei shouted at Saji. PP pervert. Who's the pervert here, playboy? Saji countered. Ask Citri-sama. She saw your expression too. Issei retorted. Saji started to sweat as he heard that. He turned his head slowly and saw Sona was glaring at him. We will discuss this later, Saji. Looks like I have some disciplining to do. BB but Kaiku. Saji wailed. Saji sent a death glare at Issei and started to challenge him. Hey you. Just because you're a pawn doesn't mean that we're on the same level. I took in 4 pieces of pawn. Saji shouted out loud and proudly. How much did you take? Answer me, playboy. Sona, including the rest of her peerage, face palmed as they saw Saji's action. But she too was curious. Just how many did Hyoudou Issei take? Issei just looked at Saji. Sweat dropped on his head. He didn't want to embarrass Citri-sama any further, but the dude standing in front of him is just so stubborn. Partner, I sensed Ritra sleeping within this boy's body, Nova talked in Issei's mind. Vitra. As in one of the Dragon King, Vitra the prison dragon. Issei inwardly asked Nova and the dragon nodded to confirm. That explains why he took 4 pieces. Issei reached his conclusions. What? Cat got your tongue, playboy? Saji pushed further. Issei didn't really what to say. He turned his head to look at Rias, trying to ask help from her. Rias gave him a nod when he looked at her. Sigh. Issei closed his eyes, took in a deep breath and sighed. What? Did you admit that you're lower than me? Saji smugged as he misunderstood Issei's sigh. Issei's facial expression became serious as he opened his eyes again. His brown eyes were furious. This causes a Saji to have a sudden chill running down his spine. I took in all 8 pieces of pawn. Issei spoke to Saji seriously. Exclamation mark, question mark, Sona and the rest of her peerage widened their eyes after hearing what Issei said. Gakong. Asterisk. Saji's mouth dropped to the floor. He also realized that he lose to Issei by a huge margin. EE8. What are you? Saji shouted. Rias, what is he? Sona turned to look at Rias and ask her. Rias smiled and walked towards Issei and hugged him from behind. Issei was shocked at her sudden action, but he started to blush as he felt her breasts were pressed onto his back. He is the Red Dragon Emperor. Rias said that, feeling both proudly and happily. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote. Sona was shocked upon hearing that. Amazing, to have someone like him in your peerage. You sure are lucky one Rias. Sona spoke while feeling a bit jealous as her best friend got someone so powerful in her peerage. I know, Rias gave a warm smile and hugged Issei even tighter, bringing her face close to his. Hyoudou-kun, you are lucky to have Rias as your master. Gremory always treated their servant as part of their family. Sona said it to Issei. Issei nodded his head. By the way Rias, why are your familiars out here in the clubroom? Sona asked as she noticed the familiars were wandering around in the clubroom. I was just about to bring Issei and Asia to meet the familiar master. Rias answered, still hugging Issei. Really? I was about to do the same thing. Sona widened her eyes and confessed. Rias then frowned. The only problem is that the familiar master will only meet with one peerage. I've been planning this ever since Issei joined the club. True, one would have to wait for another month. I don't think that you'll let me meet him first? Sona asked. Then, how about we decide it with a fair game? Winner will gain the right to meet with him. Rias showed a mischievous smile as she let go of Issei. Oh, is that a challenge Rias? Sona also showed a mischievous smile. You bet it is. Let's settle this through sports as a high school student. Rias said. Thanks for watching guys, part 2 is over, hope you all enjoyed. If you like this video please do like, share, comment and subscribe.